In the shadow of empires and kings rose a nation that refused to kneel. A land of mist, stone, and unbreakable will where warriors fought not for gold but for freedom. This is the story of Scotland's first great victory, the Battle of Stirling Bridge. 1297. Welcome to Forge Historic, the channel where forgotten battles rise again. Subscribe now and relive the moments that shaped our world. The year is 1296. For centuries, Scotland had been ruled by its own kings, a proud but divided nation, often torn by clan rivalries. But when King Alexander III dies without an heir, Scotland falls into chaos. 13 nobles claim the throne. The kingdom teeters on the edge of civil war. And into that chaos steps a man who sees opportunity, Edward I of England. Known as Longshanks, Edward is ruthless, ambitious, and determined to bring Scotland under English rule. Under the guise of peacekeeping, he invades. Castles burn, cities fall. The Scottish crown is seized and the nobles are forced to kneel. Scotland's independence gone, its people enslaved under English law. But in the highlands and glens, whispers rise. Whispers of rebellion. In 1297, two men rise from obscurity to challenge an empire. One is a knight Andrew de Moray, fighting to free his northern homeland from English garrisons. The other, a common man, a farmer's son whose name will echo through history, William Wallace. Tall, fierce, and fearless, Wallace becomes the symbol of a people's rage. After English soldiers kill his wife, he gathers outlaws, peasants, and soldiers alike. Together they strike first unbushing English patrols, burning garrisons, and freeing towns. Soon, the English realize Scotland is not conquered, it's awakening. By late summer 1297, rebellion blazes across the land. From the north, de Moray's forces liberate Inverness. From the south, Wallace's army grows farmers wielding spears, blacksmiths bearing axes, men ready to die for their country. The English response comes swiftly. John de Warenne, Earl of Surrey, marches north with nearly 10,000 men, a massive army of knights, archers, and infantry. Wallace and Moray choose their ground carefully, take position near Stirling, where a narrow wooden bridge crosses the River Forth. Behind them, the hills. Before them, the bridge. Between them and the English destiny. On the morning of September 11, 1297, fog clings to the river banks. The English army camps on the southern side, confident, well-armed, and eager for blood. Across the bridge, on the northern bank, Wallace and Moray wait with fewer than 6,000 men. Outnumbered nearly 2-1, the Scots have no heavy cavalry, no siege engines, just courage and the terrain. Surrey's advisors urge caution. The bridge is too narrow for an army to cross safely, only 2 men wide. But the English arrogance is absolute. They are peasants with sticks. Crush them. And so, the English begin to cross. One by one, English soldiers march across the bridge. Archers, infantry, knights, the front lines reaching the far bank, the rest still trapped behind them. That's when Wallace strikes. Bagpipes scream across the valley. Thunderous roar rises from the Scottish ranks for freedom, for Scotland. From the woods and hills, the Scots charge down in a wave of fury. Spearmen drive forward like a wall of thorns, cutting through the English vanguard. Arrows rain down. Men stumble. Panic, the bridge clogs with bodies. Those trying to flee are crushed or drowned in the river below. Surrey watches in horror as his proud army is annihilated. Within an hour, the mighty English force collapses. By noon, it's over. Thousands of English soldiers lie dead or trapped beneath the river's waters. The bridge itself shattered. The survivors flee south in panic. Among the fallen is Hugh de Cressingham, the English treasurer of Scotland, a man hated for his cruelty. Legend says Wallace ordered his body flayed, and from his skin they made sword belts. Whether myth or truth, the message was clear. Scotland's chains had been broken. For now, in the months that follow, Wallace and Moray become national heroes. They lead raids across the lowlands, driving the English from every castle and town. For the first time in living memory, Scotland is free. But freedom has a price. Andrew de Moray, wounded at Stirling, dies from his injuries before the year's end. Wallace, now knighted, becomes guardian of Scotland. But Edward Longshanks is not finished. In 1298, he returns with an army greater than before, and this time the Scots will face their greatest test. But Stirling Bridge will forever remain the moment when the impossible became real, when common men humbled an empire. Years later, the rebellion falters. Betrayed and captured, William Wallace is taken to London. He's charged with treason for fighting for a country that was his own. On August 23, 1305, he's executed, drawn, hanged, and quartered. But even as his body falls, his name rises. Because Wallace was more than a man, he was the soul of a nation, a reminder that freedom is never granted, it's fought for. Years later, Robert the Bruce would continue the struggle. In 1314, at Bannockburn, Scotland would finally win its independence. But the fire that lit the way was sparked on the banks of the Forth River at Stirling Bridge. It was there that ordinary men stood shoulder to shoulder and proved that no empire lasts forever and no nation truly dies while its people remember. If you felt the power of this story, hit like, share, and subscribe to Forge Historic. Because history isn't just the past, it's the story of who we are,